Welcome everyone to the Energy Medicine Body Wisdom interview series. I'm Alison Palmer, and today I'm really excited. We're going to have such a wonderful conversation with Anaiya Sophia, and what we're talking about is sacred sexual wisdom. Now, to read all about Anaiya, look at the bio beneath this video, because that's where it all is, all the juicy stuff that you want to know about her. But basically, she's written a lot of books. She's a storyteller, and also she's this pioneer of a sexual body awakening process. And I just can't wait to discuss this with you. So welcome, Anaiya.
Thank you so much, Alison. It's absolutely wonderful to be here.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, just because we know this, but nobody else does, for the first time ever, we're not that far apart geographically. We're both in the magical southwest of France, which is a very energetically powerful place, I think.
Oh gosh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so, right, this topic, sacred sexual wisdom. Okay, when I say those three words together, I just feel like that they're packed. That relationship is packed with so many layers and connections, and I almost feel like I don't know where to begin. So I want to actually begin with just saying, you know, this morning I heard somebody say we live in a very puritanical society, and I thought, oh goodness, we really do, you know, and it's so relevant to what we're going to talk about now. Mm-hmm. And also, just to be totally transparent, you know, I think I should have been a nun, because I'm really, really divorced or separated or disconnected. Maybe that's a better word. I'm disconnected from my sacred sexual wisdom. So let's start with, you know, what would be the best place to start to try to understand this powerful relationship?
Wow. Well, I think I would start with this word called sex, which we all sort of understand. And I would call sex as being the tiniest little tip of the iceberg. And what's underneath that iceberg is a massive, unknown, uncharted base, which is full of huge resources of potential healing, potential creativity, potential connection, potential expansion for both man and woman. But all of us, we've been up here at the tiny little tip that we can see, frolicking around with this activity that doesn't really lead to this great big base that's at the bottom of this iceberg. I would also like to say, in this age, 2019, there is a huge another sexual revolution going on. I'm going to be talking about this evening with Andrew Harvey. It's called sexual fluidity. It's mostly showing up in the much younger generations at the moment, teenagers and 20-somethings. No one much wants to be classified as heterosexual anymore. There's this fluidity that's including both men and women. And it's not because they're gay or bisexual, because it's not about the actual sexual act. It's about being really fluid to choose the partner that they want to be with. So that is also extremely interesting, because I believe that is part of this base. We've been so locked into this narrow way of choosing our partners and what we're supposed to do once we've chosen our partner, and it hasn't led to what's really possible in this sacred sexual wisdom.
Yeah, there's so much to explore here. And when you were talking, I was thinking, and you said, you know, we just frolic around with this little bit, you know, and I thought, oh my goodness, yeah, that's actually that we're concerned just with that tiny bit. And a lot of society is not very happy about that, just that tiny bit, let alone
Um,
anything else. It's like this tiny, tiny part of sexuality, which we dare sometimes to acknowledge. It's and we acknowledge we slam lots of different derogatory labels at it. We dismiss it. We just we load it with meaning,
yes,
which often is very negative. And we are fixated on that. And now you're talking about, wow, that's just the tip of the iceberg, and there's all this
yes.
underneath. And also, what's really interesting about what you were saying about relationship with another person, and I'm thinking also it must be about our relationship with ourselves as well.
Absolutely. And this is what I find fascinating, because the buzzword in the spiritual community at the moment, and has been for, well, at least 10 years, as far as I'm aware, is sacred union or sacred marriage. We're all going around balancing our male and female energies, which I wonder, has this had a knock-on effect with the younger generation who are very much in balance with their male and female energy? And of course, they have a different operating system now. So they haven't, they might be particularly in their male energy, therefore they'll choose a female partner. But I don't mean, man, woman, but whoever's got the opposite energy.
Mm.
So again, absolutely fascinating. And another thing I find interesting, because I'm right here now in it, menopause. um, a lot of women can come into their menopausal years, and whether it's a hormonal thing or whether it's a transparent, truthful thing, we look at this tiny little thing called sex and we go, I don't want that anymore. Because the gems I'm picking up about this menopause experience is that we become more and more authentic. We start taking off the masks left, right, and center that we had on when we were a young being, and we're just getting right down to integrity. And and of course, with the Me Too movement, we're like, I don't want to have sex anymore. It's pointless, it's worthless, it doesn't go anywhere. And my deep inner wisdom says there is much, much more. Now, if you want to come on me with that journey, I'm going to be interested again. But until that point, no, I'm out of here.
Hey, you know what? You feel like I'm a pioneer now.
Because that's what I feel, and that is what I am doing. Because I know there's more. I have glimpsed more in my younger years. So I do know. It's certainly not about technique. It's about energy, and it's about the way you approach the activity.
Okay, so we can go in two different directions. We've got the youth, and we've got us
Yes.
beautiful menopausal women, who are, like you say, finding it even more important, and perhaps possibly easier to be more completely in integrity with who we are. So so I wanted to just ask a question about the younger people, because when it really just, I thought, wow, are they better able than our generation to read energy?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Absolutely. I would say so. Their brain is wired up differently to ours. Absolutely. That can be biologically proven. They are
wow, that's
upper
amazing. That's right. We
quality.
really are evolving as a
Oh,
species.
absolutely. I was lying in bed last night, absolutely just like looking back over the last 50 years
Mm.
and saying, oh, yes, we are evolving. And that brings such a lovely sort of warmth to my heart, because you jump on Facebook, you see all these terrible videos of how humanity is on its way out.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's not. We are evolving. We're going to evolve again. And as my mentor always says, this is not a transformation but a mutation. We are mutating.
Oh.
And I thought,
And
oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
does the sacred sexual wisdom, how does that relate to this mutation?
Oh, the sexual energy is the force. The sexual energy is the engine that is behind this mutation. So we can either do it really slowly, or we can go down into that deeper aspect of the iceberg, and by golly, we will get given so much more energy. And it's not really about having a wonderful sexual experience, although that will be there. It's about healing. It's about intimacy. It's about going down into the deep and pulling up huge quantities of wisdom and creativity. It's about knowing your contribution to the new earth, your purpose. What are you here to bring? It's about opening the body and finding the little secret resources that were having layers over the top, because we're only in our mind, 80% of the time. We forget to look in the deeper pockets. Sexuality will reveal those deeper pockets.
So it sounds like a delicious place to dive into. But since we've habitually stayed in that little tiny tip, how do we then even start to acknowledge that huge amount that is there available to us for each of us? How do we actually start to connect to it? Because otherwise we can get it intellectually, but we don't actually move beyond the intellectual comprehension of it.
Well, perhaps this is where the free gift comes in.
Oh.
That was my question. As I said, I have glimpsed this on numerous occasions in my past. So I needed to know, how can I get in there myself?
Mm.
And so I came up with this journey through our body, like we're a little spaceship navigating, the inner chambers of the yoni, which is the vagina, but not in a sexual way, but looking at all the different regions in that area through like a yogic philosophy type of way, connecting with certain places and certain energies and imagining that they're doors or gateways. And once we have the right vibration, which might be trust, then that little door will open and we go a little bit deeper in and we come to perhaps innocence. And we really feel it. Yes, 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 I am innocent in that place. Okay, and now that door opens. And so you can make your way up through the yoni into the womb, because the womb is the big HQ of creativity. And my feeling is the superpower that we are all to bring to this birth of this new earth that is in the making. We all have a little piece of the puzzle to bring to this party. And I can't help feeling, well, if we create babies in this place, we can sure as heck create other, perhaps non-physical beings from this place.
Wow.
And of course, sorry, Alison, I just get so excited. The reason we haven't been getting into these places, this kind of spiritual or esoteric way of looking at the reproductive system, is because of course, guilt and shame and regret and awkwardness.
Mm.
So, you mentioned even the word divorced. You feel divorced. So this is what we want to undo. We want to bring in remarriage, reunion. And of course, the best way is we do it with ourselves first.
Mm.
And then when we feel ready, you don't even have to invite someone to come in, because someone will already be knocking on the door, because your vibration has changed from to
So I want to explore all that you've just said in relation to being menopausal or postmenopausal woman. Okay. because I love the womb, and what you say about the womb, particularly, it's like, okay, it's it revitalizes the energy of the womb for the menopausal and postmenopausal woman by remembering that creative force, that is that essence that is there, that's part of it. But while we're sort of shrugging off this, I don't want this and I don't want that, that's not for me anymore. And how do we then, and we have, so most women I speak to, but absolutely not everybody, but a lot of them do have that shame, they have the disgust, they're tired, menopause, our bodies start to change, you know, my skin got really wrinkly and like not very attractive to me, and we do change, so we can be very dissatisfied with connecting to our bodies. So how can we get beyond, or how can we let go of that, all of that baggage that might come up really strongly when you're in menopause or after menopause?
Absolutely. Well, the only way I have found, and of course, you know, people say, oh, you're not menopausal, you're just in baby phase. Well, I'm not actually. You know, my bleeding cycle has stopped. It has been a year. I am well and truly in. But I do realize I haven't come out fully the other side. So I don't like to talk too much about this subject because I know I'm not fully there yet. But I've got enough experience under my belt to say what I have glimpsed. I'm going through these same changes too. I mean, I've developed like this extra part of the face.
Me
That
too.
just hangs, no matter how much exercise I do or how you know lean my diet becomes. But you know, my mum says, "Hey, welcome to later life." Now I do know the great medicine is when us women come together. We cannot do this journey by ourselves. And I think it's so uncomfortable by ourselves in order that we gather together. And I also do know there is a heck of wild, unlimited wisdom and potential and creativity because the menstrual cycle has turned inward now. And this is something I want to say to the women. Don't think for 1 minute that your menstrual cycle has stopped. It's just stopped on the outside. We are going through this same process. And of course, we're keeping it all to ourselves now. And that, I believe, is where we find our healing gateway. When we circle together, when we share together, when we say, hey, look at this extra bit around my face, you know, and you show your hands or whatever it is, you know, and we chant and we get wild because we are in our autumn, we are in our winter, one of the most powerful cycles of nature. And that, like the young ones, so the young ones are bringing in something interesting. We are waiting for these older women to not shy away because they're in menopause, but to come forward even stronger. So we've got the crone and we've got the maiden. Now that is sexy.
It's really amazing. I mean, I was thinking we have the choice to do what we've been taught in society, which is to shrink and wither away. So we turn into dust.
Yes.
Or we could do something different, which, and what you're suggesting just sounds amazing. I just had such a clear image of, you know, women in all of our glorious, you know, flippy, floppy, flabby bits of our bodies and our hair and you know, all of it, just, you know, just really dancing together around a campfire. That's what I saw. So
absolutely. And older women are not afraid of power. So if you've got a politician or a policeman or a traffic warden, you know, all of those old power figures, that we would have like, "Ooh, I'm sorry, did I just break the law?" We don't care about that stuff anymore. We don't care about hair, we don't care about makeup, we don't care what anyone thinks of us anymore. This is a dynamic section of society. And by golly, we need more courageous people like that at this time, because we really are on the edge. We can either go to sleep and just let all this stuff carry on happening, or we can be catalyzed into something, although personally, I think that's already happened. We are already in this something. We are responding. Just look at the news. Prince Andrew, this is outrageous. This is being reported, but it's fantastic that it's being reported. There's a marker of change and evolution right here and now with this current conversation that's happening.
Yeah, yes. And like you say, it's happening on both. It's happening both ends, but it's running throughout society as well, all societies, which is the most amazing thing.
Yes.
So it just could be the most fabulous transformation. It feels a little bit scary.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that, or do you not feel that?
I have been through that, I believe. There's always more. No, I have recently been speaking to, my nearest and dearest, people who really are on the cutting edge of this evolutionary crisis or change that we're in. And we're all absolutely in this place of certainty now that we are going into, we call it a golden age. We're going into another golden age. By golly, there's going to be huge and horrible challenges along the way. But that threshold, that turning point has turned. The decision, the cooperation has been chosen. We're going through the eye of the needle. Now, if you'd have asked me, are you afraid 6 months ago? Whew, yeah. Yeah.
And what's the difference between then and now?
I've seen with these little eyes incredible gatherings of love, connection, trust, humanity really coming together. Incredible things. You're coming away from gatherings going, oh my God, it's really happening.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Budapest a month ago. The Turkish Prime Minister was there, and the people of Budapest were not happy about that. So they were out in protest. So there was a lot of angst and fear and anger in the streets of Budapest. But where we were inside like a yoga studio, and we can see the people protesting outside. The police are being really compliant, so there's no fighting, but the people are angry that this man is here. But we're in this lovely yoga studio, totally healing male and femaleness in relationship. Men and women really, really becoming the best of friends and finding deep trust between one another again. And I'm talking after centuries. So not just our personal quarrel with man or woman, but the actual historical quarrel. This was getting healed. Wow. And I'm looking at this, and then I look outside the window and go, wow. So, yes.
So it's a heating up everywhere.
Yes.
And yes, I think that's the word I want to use rather than a speeding up. Or it's the vibrations are changing.
Yes.
Wow. Well, sacred sexual wisdom. So we started off, by you saying about this huge possibility that's available to us. And you talked about, when I asked you, how can people actually start to access it? You said, well, that's where the free gift comes in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So perhaps now you could actually just give a little bit of information about the free gift.
Yes. Well, it's an audio file. I'm speaking on it, and as you mentioned, Alison, at the beginning, I am a storyteller, so I do use my voice to enchant and sort of like beckon in. And so the journey is that we actually travel like a little spaceship up through the yoni, through the vagina. And I'm sure, even as I say this, some of us are like, ooh, what on earth would I do that for? Well, number one, it's only in your imagination. And number two, it's very, very healing, because the first journey will be a little bit bumpy, a little bit awkward, and there will definitely be some, ooh, I don't like this. But if you just work with it, if you just breathe through it and realize we are inside your beautiful, beautiful body that has lived so many years, and at some point we won't be with this beautiful body anymore. So let's go out on a high note. Let's love every single crease and crevice and baggy bit and wrinkly bit. Because if we can get into that place again with our consciousness and with the beautiful warmth of our hearts, I guarantee you are going to find more of yourself. And because the reproductive sexual area is a dwelling of creativity, I believe everyone has to be all hands on deck regarding creativity at the moment. We need creativity, we need innovation, we need out of the box thinking. We need to be able to run with those ideas rather than, oh no, that's not going to work. Yes, it could work. Let's try.
Mm.
And this, I believe, is sitting in that womb space, and particularly the ovaries. In yogic philosophy, we're told the ovaries are the seeds of potential power and creativity. And even though, technically a little egg is not going along our fallopian tube and dropping and coming out as a bleeding cycle, that process is still happening energetically. And what we want to do is dial back into that process and sort of catch it. Ha-ha.
Yeah.
And just get to know that part of us again.
I'm getting all inspired by this. I'm thinking, oh yes, 13 cycles and
Yes.
13 creative projects.
Absolutely.
Wow. So that gift, which sounds amazing, the link is below the video. So everybody, get hold of this and, start exploring. And I love what Anaiya says is it's hands-on experience. Fantastic.
All hands on deck.
All hands on deck. That's it.
And that's the spirit, Alison, to find the joy again, the looseness around what was a very contracted conversation. So I can see you, I can feel you right now, it's magical. You're totally expanding.
That's how I feel. I feel. So you're obviously reading the energy, right? So I hope that everybody else who's watching this is also feeling this expansive energy, because it feels like just it feels very joyful. You use that word, and it does feel very joyful. And what an amazing thing to think. I mean, younger people going through the revolution that you spoke of, great, that's what they're doing. But I don't feel very connected to young people, even though I've got, children in that age group. But I do feel connected, like you said, to where I am and where you are, like the older woman going into this period of life, which traditionally isn't seen so great in the West. Some cultures it's much more celebrated and revered. But what a fantastic thing to go into it with such a different perspective. How fantastic. That's amazing.
It's definitely worth, contemplating, considering, you know, in the West, has this phase of life been dampened down for a reason?
Mhm.
Because there is so much potential there. There is so much, you know, thinking out of the box. Our hormones are not driving us anymore. We don't have blinkers on anymore.
Mm.
We are out of the bag. You know, and that awareness and consciousness is coming through a body now that is not being driven by procreation and, oh my God, I need to get another man.
Mm.
This is dangerously exciting,
Mm. Yeah.
dangerously authentic.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And I know, oh, sorry, one last piece. A couple of generations ago, let's just say my grandmother,
Mm.
because the working conditions were different, by the time my grandmother would have been 50, 55, she would have been feeling tired.
Mm.
You know, it is time to lie down now and just enjoy, you know, just coast.
Mm.
But we're different. We're different. We've still got energy. And now we have the wisdom, we have the consciousness.
Mm.
You know, it's like Marianne Williamson. She's in her 50s. She's going for president.
Yes, it's time to light that fire.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, well, this has been just the most brilliant and inspiring topic, and expansive and joyful topic, and strangely, you know, I did come into it feeling a bit apprehensive because, you know, I shared with you that, you know, my alter ego is a nun, like a Buddhist nun, I think. And yet it feels like, I feel like I'm becoming the wild, wise elder woman instead of that sort of the nun sort of persona. So thank you for that. And I hope that it affects other people in a similar way. So thank you so much, Anaiya.
You look absolutely radiant now. Well, you did anyway at the beginning, but there's an extra sheen.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Like I said, I really hope that you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And don't forget to get the free gift. And once again, Anaiya, thank you. Thank you so much for coming and bringing this exciting topic to us.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you.